tick tick clock clock clock, blood rush to my head, they hot like popping off the fucking block. That clock and wristlet watch been top off.
Whoa.
Woo! Where are we,
Definitely
Ryan?
fucking feeling it right now, man. We are
Alright.
currently in El Centro, California. We made it.
I would say dehydration levels are the highest that they've been so far on this trip. We're pretty banged up in general right now.
Yeah. So, I think we left off.
Let's get to where we're at right now. So right now we're driving pretty much the last stretch of the way. Pretty much made it.
2 more hours.
Yeah, on however many hours we've done so far, we're on the last 2, which feels insane.
Yeah, it doesn't feel real.
And I gotta tell you, it's hot here.
Yeah, it's hot as fuck.
The chapstick is melting, which is awful.
Yeah.
And then all the granola bars in the back, they're all melted and shit. So we might go through a heat stroke because we have to keep the windows up to do this. So
no, we got some AC going.
We're slowly roasting right now doing this podcast for you guys because it's at least 90 plus degrees here and it's unforgiving. So yeah.
You're welcome.
But we only have a little bit to go, so we're just sucking it up and plowing ahead. So let's pick up where we left off.
We left off, I believe, we were leaving Utah? Or was it? We were getting in Arizona? We must have been in Arizona.
Were we?
I don't fucking know
I
now.
can't remember. The weird thing about this at this point now is that the whole thing feels like such a blur. It was only 3 days, but it just feels like...
So long, too.
Yeah.
The amount of hours we've been up is just most of them.
and even though it was long, now that I look back on it, it feels like it kind of went by quick now that it's done with. And it's just almost like it's a blur.
Yeah.
Because we did so much in such a short amount of time. I don't know.
I'm going to say we were either leaving Utah or in Arizona, going down to Harding. I think we were in Arizona, northern Arizona.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you guys heard it all, but the last thing we saw was the Grand Canyon when we left Utah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we were on our way to the Grand Canyon.
When we did the last podcast. Okay.
Yeah, okay, so they don't know about the Grand Canyon yet.
The Grand Canyon was insane.
Absolutely insane.
For me, I was kind of indifferent about going to see the Grand Canyon. I was what could it be, man?
How do you feel now after you saw it?
You see it, whatever. Because, alright, so in Utah, it was you were in the wilderness. You could go from, being, kind of part of the park, I guess, and then to, the wilderness. I don't know if that makes sense. You were, I don't know, it was weird. You could be a part of it, you could get yourself in there if you wanted.
It was pretty much surrounding you.
Yeah, it was all surrounding you, and you could find your own, kind of spot where no one else was around, and you felt like you were alone in this crazy nature. So I didn't think that was going to happen in the Grand Canyon, and it really didn't.
Yeah.
I think if we spent more time there, we could have. Maybe find that little nook where you don't hear anyone, you don't see anyone, it's just you. But there was, we went to the Grand Canyon, and I totally understand now, the hype kind of about it.
Oh, yeah.
How massive it really is.
It's actually hard to even fathom, even looking at it.
You're this isn't real.
Yeah, and it's so big that you can't even see how big it is.
With your eyes.
It goes as far as your eyes can see, and then we drove along, the southern rim, and we drove about 30 miles along this rim, and you still couldn't see the end of it as far as you went. So, it just kept going as far as... It was insane.
It's the biggest thing I've ever seen.
That's not an ocean.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's... I don't even know how to describe it. And we really only spent, an hour there.
Not long at all.
If that. We,
kind of in a rush.
Yeah, and I don't know why I didn't like kind of expect this, but it's really high up.
Yeah.
I thought it was just gonna be ground level and everything else is gonna be below sea level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you have to like climb a mountain to get there. We were 5,000 plus feet high, and I remember running back to the car to get the ball, and I was out of breath for jogging like 20 yards. Completely out of
shape.
That is true.
No, but you could feel it. Definitely being up, like, I mean, when we were in Colorado, Utah, you could definitely feel it was a little harder to breathe in certain spots, you know.
Yeah.
I felt like I was getting a really good workout when maybe I wasn't doing that much. Yeah, I don't know, like when we were hiking, it felt like we were I was, you know, exerting myself, and I was really just walking.
Yeah, up a semi-steep slope.
It probably was a good workout, but I think it was just a little bit amplified.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
that was kind of cool.
I mean, you took a pisser into the Grand Canyon.
I did.
And we have pictures of that, so check those out, because those are pretty funny.
I'll include them in this podcast.
And we brought this ball.
What's the ball's name?
The ball's name is Ball.
Oh, nice.
It's referred to only as Ball. We brought it on this trip with us just to keep us company, because, you know, Ball's a good friend. He's a good guy.
He goes back a long way.
Yeah. People know about Ball. He has a history. And we got to the Grand Canyon. For some reason, my first thought was like, I want to throw something down there. At first, I threw a rock, and it just like didn't really feel that cool because it's already filled with rocks. And I just remembered, oh, I have Ball. I can chuck that in there, and I don't know, maybe give Ball a sense of purpose in his life, like an adventure. Who knows? Maybe some kid down at the bottom like finds it, and then he takes it on some adventure somewhere else. You know, just shit like that. So that was pretty fun. Just throwing a bouncy ball into the Grand Canyon.
There's a time when you thought it was going to bounce back to you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I pretty much threw it, and then I was waiting, like, and like I heard it bounce, and then it just never came back up.
It probably didn't even make it to the bottom. That's how deep it is.
Yeah. You can't, that was the craziest part. You can't see the bottom standing over the rim. You can maybe see, like, a part of the bottom. You can see the river, like, pretty far away, and only a small sliver of it.
Yeah.
But
we saw the river, and that's, you know, I gotta believe that's pretty much as deep as it goes.
yeah.
Maybe there's some other caverns and stuff like that down there, but I guess that's sea level, you know?
Yeah.
So we saw the river in one spot, and then it was weird. We saw that, and we drove up from, I guess, what was the first thing we stopped at?
It was called Desert Point or something like
Yeah, as
that.
soon as you get in, it's like the first big stop you can make when you go into the Grand Canyon. Go in there, and that was cool. We could see the river, and then you obviously got the sense of how massive it really was, and then the crazier thing is it only gets bigger. It was like harder to take in and bigger than that, because we went to the next stop on the map, or 2 or 3 stops up, was called Grandview. And, you know, we were looking at the map, we're like, oh, Grandview? Sounds like the spot, you know, the Grandview. So
And it was, like,
it was crazy.
it really opened up at, like, Grandview.
And at the Grandview, you couldn't see, you know, the river at the bottom.
Yeah.
It was just even harder to take in.
Because at Desert Point, like you said, it's the very first thing you can go to. So you're kind of seeing, like, the outer edge, you know what I mean? But when you got to Grandview, you're a bit more in the middle, so it just takes up way more of your, like, visual field, you know?
And, you know, we were going down, you know, I think we talked about how we were going to our friend Sean Harding's house. So we were kind of in a rush. We wanted to get that done and then kind of leave there before the sun started to set, so we could get some time on the road, figure out our way, get our course set, and then head down to Phoenix. But you know, we could have explored for days in there. You know, we could have explored for.
It could have been months.
Honestly, if you really wanted to, you know, get down in there, you know, you have experience. with rafting or climbing, you could make that a month-long trip if you wanted to. This thing was insanely big, and
I'm glad we saw it.
yeah, I'm glad we saw it, and I'm sure there's more to do, and I wish we could, you know, shed some light on what there is more to do, but we kind of got just only the cusp of it.
Yeah.
You know, seeing how actually big it is, kind of taking it in a couple of different spots, and then other than that, there was a spot where you could climb down. I don't know how far you could actually climb down.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we got a pretty good version of what it is, but you know, you could definitely spend some time there.
We only scratched the surface.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
But all that really did was make me want to go back, so that's not a problem.
Yeah, that is true. At some point, and it's kind of nice because we're already talking about like how in Utah we saw people, you know, rafting and boating down the Colorado River and then just camping on the side of the riverbank. And we're like, oh my God, that'd be such a fucking sick trip to do. Like, do this thing again, bring a boat or rent a boat and camp along the Colorado River for like a 50-mile stretch. That would be insane.
And you could probably do the same thing with the Grand Canyon.
No, and the Colorado River goes. We kind of followed it the entire way here. Like I just saw signs not too long ago, about an hour ago, for Colorado River.
Really?
So I don't know how gnarly that would be, but it would be so crazy to go to follow the entire river.
That would take months, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because even just getting to the Grand Canyon, I feel would take a pretty gnarly amount of time.
I mean, we pushed the car and the roads and our bodies to get here in 3 days, and that's driving on average at least 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So boating down this, you can't get faster than 30 miles an hour on that.
I'm sure there's certain spots in the river that are just way too gnarly.
Yeah.
To go down.
And that's another thing. You really have to map that out, kind of figure out like, all right, I don't really know what to do when rapids come.
Yeah.
So let's take the bunny hill kind of thing.
Exactly.
But definitely some stimulating things that we're seeing.
It's almost crazy, and I'm actually really happy that we did see the Grand Canyon because we were kind of close to skipping it, but I'm happy we did just because that means we hit everything that we planned to see.
Yeah, that's true.
Before we started this trip, and that's pretty hard to do on a trip like this. We had 5 or 6 destinations and locations we were really excited about, and we saw all of them, which was awesome. And seeing them in such a short amount of time, I don't know, my brain feels really weird right now. Just
overloaded.
The combination of like delirium from driving for so long and seeing so many mind-blowing, amazing things, I don't really know how to take it all in yet. Like, I think I need time to reflect on it before I can really like understand what I saw.
I mean, even right now, we're just driving in California currently, and we're seeing some crazy shit. We're not even really like taking it in right now because we're talking. We're not kind of thinking back. But there's mountain ranges, fucking what are these things called?
Wind turbines.
Wind turbines.
You just can't remember
on the top
that.
on the top of the. Why can I not remember what they're called?
I don't know.
It's so easy. Wind turbines everywhere. But it's so sick, and we've said this probably repeatedly, but we get to see the climate and the environment change literally right in front of us, which was the coolest thing I think about going so fast through all these different states.
Yeah.
It's literally you get to compare constantly of what's going on and see how it changes.
And it was pretty insane from Utah to Arizona, not going that far really. A 3-hour drive had at least a 20-degree temperature change.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And all of a sudden we were just in the desert. And that was actually pretty cool in California. We just drove by like the desert.
Yeah.
Like actual sand dune desert, which I didn't really expect to see on this trip, honestly.
Yeah, it was like Tatooine in Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
It was crazy.
And we drove right across the Mexican border, and we saw a wall. So
It's not damn high enough.
I don't know if that's the wall. If you secretly put it up,
Yeah.
no one really knows about it. But
I think that wall's been there for a while.
yeah. But just seeing the Mexican border and like looking at Mexico, didn't really expect to do that either. That never really crossed my mind as something
Yeah.
that we would be doing.
It's crazy, like, being in between states, passing through states, how there's literally like one line that will divide the lands in half, and there's not much difference, like, in a 10-mile radius, you know, between that line. But then once you kind of get into one state a little bit more, you really start to see how it changes, like we were saying.
Yeah.
But it's weird, like, how it's something I've never thought about, how states have been divided. Where are the dividing points?
And that's what I thought about too, actually. Yeah. And I realized that they do it based on the like climate in that
Yeah.
area. Because when we crossed into Arizona, it almost immediately became desert.
Yeah.
And then I realized they were like, oh, this is the desert area.
Yeah.
Let's make that a border. And that's the desert state. So that's pretty weird to think about.
Yeah.
How they got those borders out of the land.
So probably a combination of that, and then the people that started, you know, buying that land,
Mm-hmm.
you know, during the expansion west. But it is crazy. I've never really learned about how state borders were formed,
Yeah.
and I don't know much about it still. But
I'm pretty sure there was a show on Discovery or History or something that was like how the states got their shape or something like
Yeah.
that. So
pretty wild. Something I've never really thought about.
yeah. And I honestly have no clue anything about that. I
Yeah.
actually might look into that at some
Have
point.
to.
I might see if that show is a real thing or if I'm just making that up.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. There's got to be a rhyme and a reason.
Yeah.
But so crazy drive. Still driving, but almost there.
And I'm sweating right now.
Yeah, and we're in the AC.
Dripping down my legs. But it really doesn't matter because I'm just so excited to be getting there.
Yeah. But last night we made it safely to our friend Sean Harding's house. Harding, thanks for having us over.
Yeah, if you're listening, thank you for everything.
Immediately got in. Harding had a keg, booze,
Food.
bitches.
Yeah, I
Couple
mean,
bitches.
they were alright.
Yeah. I thought that one girl was hot. Kiana.
Yeah, Kiana was hot. Kiana, if you're listening for some reason, you're alright.
Hit us up. Kiana was kind of hot. She honestly, you don't watch Game of Thrones, Brendan, but for anyone watching, this girl kind of looked like Robb Stark's wife. So she's pretty, like, darker skinned. I don't know where she said she was from. I asked her if she was from Hawaii, but she wasn't. And she just kind of looked pretty hot. I mean, she wasn't insane, like, by comparison of all the other girls that weren't that hot. Like, she was the hottest, but
She had big feet. It kind of freaked me out.
oh, I didn't look at her feet.
They were big enough for me to notice that they were big.
She was a taller chick.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that too. I'm into tall chicks.
Yeah. So, Kiana, we liked you.
Yeah, so we pretty much just got really, really drunk.
Yeah.
I mean, every time we're with Harding,
Yeah.
that's what happens.
He made me fucking play Civil War, or Vietnam War. And anyone that doesn't know what this game is, it is fucked. So, there's Vietnam versus USA. It's like a beer pong thing. So they model it after how the war kind of went. Vietnam had the numbers on us, and they're all like little small in the jungle, little fucking Vietnamese people taking shots at us and, you know, fucking us up. And then the USA is just a big powerhouse, but there's maybe not as much of us, and we don't really know what we're doing. So how it goes, USA gets 4 cups full of beer. Vietnam gets like 30 or 20 cups, and that they're only like the bottoms are like full of beer.
It looked more like 30 to me.
Yeah. So when USA hits a Vietnamese cup, they drink it and put it aside. Yeah, that's wind turbines passing by.
We're probably like 50 feet from these massive wind turbines. It's pretty cool. I don't think we've ever been this close before.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep going, Ryan.
Anyway, so USA hits a cup, Vietnam drinks it, and throws it away. When Vietnam hits a USA cup, we chug, it's a full cup, we have to chug it, and you have to fill it right back up. There's only 4. And you can put them, either side can put them in whatever order you want, however you want to put them across the table, but that's the game. USA can win only by getting all their cups, and that's it.
Yeah, you have to hit
all 30 cups for USA to win. And then Vietnam wins when USA either gives up or...
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
They just have to give up.
Or yeah, exactly. So
it's kind of
just waiting for the USA team to give up.
Yeah, and the problem with that specific game was that you and Harding were USA.
Yeah.
And you guys were
Harding
never, ever going to give up.
Always wants to be USA, and he'll never give up. So, I mean, I'm pretty stubborn, but when it comes to drinking games, I don't give a fuck. Like, if I'm not enjoying drinking the beer, then what am I doing?
Exactly.
You know?
And then the game went on for over an hour.
Yeah, dude, it was so long.
So people were really over by the end, but Harding refused
to
give in, and you guys just got wasted.
Yeah, I got
really drunk.
Harding, I'll say, I'm using air quotes for this, we won the game, and Harding immediately just went to bed.
Knocked out.
Like, knocked out. Face planted into his bed. And we only
Which was
won.
kind of awkward, because we didn't know anyone.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't know anyone else at his
And then
house.
it was just us with Harding's friends.
Yeah. And then that was kind of early, honestly.
Yeah.
And it was like 11:30, 12 o'clock. And literally, Vietnam only lost, I'll say it in quotes again, because they were getting bored, 1, and 2, they kind of let us win.
Yeah. They stopped making the shots and were just praying that the USA would hit one.
Yeah.
And I think I had to come in and shoot the last shot.
Yeah, you were shooting a couple. So it's like, yeah, we won, but who really won here? You guys are chilling, having a good time, and I'm just so bloated with all this beer, and I am drunk as hell.
And
I don't
your best
feel
friend's
good.
passed out.
My best friend just passed out on the bed, unresponsive.
The thing about that was funny is I went into his room to get something, and I just saw him face down with his phone like gripped in his hand in front of his face, but he was just unconscious. So I got his blanket out from underneath him. I kind of dragged it out from under his big belly, and I put it over top of him and like tucked him in and shit. But then about maybe 2 hours later, when it was my time to go to bed, I didn't have a blanket, so I went in his room and I just took it right off him. I felt pretty bad, but the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away.
Comparing yourself to the Lord?
In that scenario, yes.
The Lord of blankets?
So yeah, we had a good time at Arizona State. It's really, really nice there.
Yeah, it's a really clean city. Phoenix, I think we were in northern Phoenix.
Yeah, like northeast Phoenix or something.
It was really clean. Not like there wasn't, they said downtown Phoenix there's a homeless problem, but there wasn't any homeless people that we saw. I think what else? I mean, we didn't get much out of Phoenix because we were just at Harding's house.
Yeah, we didn't really go out. We weren't about town.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. I guess we should have been, yeah, but I'm fine with not.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like Harding wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, he had his thing going.
Yeah.
He just wanted to hang out. He had that keg. He bought a keg because we were coming, so.
For a night.
Yeah, for one night. So yeah, this is crazy right now.
What we're
driving through.
Yeah, I don't even really know what it is. It's just, sorry if you can't really hear us, Ryan's opening the window to take pictures. But it's just pretty much big piles of rocks. It doesn't even feel like a mountain, it's just piles of rocks. Or maybe boulders. Big rocks.
It's just a boulder.
It's a rock.
It's a rock.
I don't know. Look to your left, Ryan.
Pretty crazy. It looks like a quarry almost.
It almost looks man-made, how it's set up. I don't really understand it, but...
Mountains. It's pretty mountainous.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been meaning to ask you for this last podcast drive. We saw a lot. We saw everything we wanted to see, and we saw America. And
America, baby.
obviously, we didn't see everything that America has to offer. But in my opinion, like when I think of America, I think of the Wild West.
Okay.
That's kind of my idea of seeing America. Is driving out west and I don't know. Holy shit. And I just wanted to ask you, what have you learned about yourself on this trip, if you learned anything about yourself at all?
I'm trying to think. What have I learned? I've learned that I definitely can't do this for the rest of my life.
What, travel?
Yeah. Do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I've learned that...
But what about yourself? Like something more internal? Did you have any like realizations or epiphanies about your life?
I don't know. Maybe it's all still so new that I haven't soaked anything
Yeah,
up
like
yet.
you said, we haven't reflected on anything that we've done.
I don't really know. Have you learned anything?
I've been trying to think about that. I spent a lot yesterday thinking about it.
I mean, we've had some good like conversations
Yeah.
about. I think we've learned. I think a big thing that I've just been on this recently is just being really truthful with yourself and like just
We
being
talked
kind
about
of more
truth a
being
lot.
being like kind of realistic and saying like we've been listening to also like those Jordan Peterson podcasts, and he talks a lot about like the truth will set you free type thing, and it really is true. Like if you're true to yourself and you speak the truth, even
if it's hard
to do, usually it's the better thing.
It'll make your life easier in the long run.
Yeah.
In the short term, maybe you'll have to like go through some trials and tribulations, because speaking the truth is hard.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason why little kids lie when they do something wrong, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it gets you out of a situation in the short term. But if you really want like a long, sustaining, happy, clear mind,
Yeah.
you need to constantly work towards the truth.
And that's what it's for. It's not for anyone. Maybe in certain situations it can be for other people telling the truth, but it's really for yourself to be okay with who you are and what you're doing at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really know what on this trip has kind of taught me that or anything. I just think I've been thinking about that more.
Well, I think it was just the time, the time you've had.
That was pretty sick. There's just one like lone house on the base of a mountain.
Sorry if that's really loud. We really don't know what that's going to sound like.
Yeah, we just opened the window.
Can we edit that out or no?
Oh yeah, I can.
Alright, if we can't,
Sorry.
fuck it. It's 30 seconds out of your life.
Yeah. You've been listening this long.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think it's really that we've done anything that profound necessarily, but just the time we've had to do nothing but think and talk has let us kind of like flesh out these ideas.
It's kind of nice just to be able to think about nothing but what you're doing right now.
Yeah, and having to be completely in the moment no matter what. Because we really drove the past 3 days with not really a set destination. Anything could have happened. Like when our car broke down, we could have had to just stay there for a night.
Yeah, maybe the rest of the trip.
Yeah, so everything we did was based on what was happening right then and there.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
And also, we talked about it before too. It's like just the whole like about town thing can be applied to life too. Like if you just see something cool that you think might work out, and whether it's going to the next bar down the street or doing something totally different that you've never done, as in driving across fucking US or just any kind of decision. I think it's really refreshing to do shit like that, because the last time I felt like this was kind of my freshman year of college, when I started kind of realizing that everyone's pretty much the same, and you can just go out and talk to people and do whatever, and you know, if they're judging you or something like that, you know, it doesn't really matter. You should just do something because you think it's cool, and you want to do it, you want to try it. And I don't know, I just, like, in freshman year of college, it was like, oh hey, like, don't really know this person, but they just asked me to go to a concert, to a band I've never really seen, don't know if I like it, but hey, what do I really have better going on right now?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think this was kind of comparable to that. It's like, me and you left, like, on pretty much a couple days notice to go out to California. And I was just like, what do I really have better going on right now?
Yeah. That was, like, really tough, because I just got a job before I left. Like, we left on a Wednesday, and I got a job the Saturday before, and the day that I got the job, I was like, should I ask them if I can go to California for 2 weeks right after I get the job? I was like kind of hesitant to even try.
Yeah.
But now even if I come back and I don't have the job anymore, I'll be fine with that.
Yeah.
This was way worth just like kind of risking it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just going for it, even though I was kind of afraid to.
So there's always something like that that's gonna happen.
You just gotta take those moments. Like, it's really easy to say, oh, I can't do that because I have this going on in my life, or it just wouldn't be economically smart.
Which, I mean, we're definitely spending some coin out here.
And I could have stayed home and been making money, you know? But at the end of the day, what really, like, are we really gonna value money that much?
Yeah.
Like, a cross-country road trip, that's something that everyone should do. It's one of those, like, quintessential types of life adventures, driving across, especially America. There's no other country like it that you can just drive through on such a large scale and see so many different things.
And that's another thing, like, that I kind of realized too. Like, I really respect where we live and how lucky we are to have all this at our disposal. Because there are people that can't leave their fucking houses without, like, being scared to die.
Yeah.
And, like, being scared to be accused of something that they didn't do, or being caught up in something that they don't want to be caught up in. And I'm not sure where I'm talking about right now. It could be the Middle East. It could be some fucked place in Africa.
Yeah, Mexico, who knows?
There's people out there that don't get this, and I think this is just, like, so awesome to be able to say you've done one, and just notice that, hey, not everyone gets to do this. So you're almost doing it for everyone that doesn't get to do it, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Which almost feels kind of fucked.
Feels kind of mean.
But it'd almost be even meaner to not even do it. You know what I mean? They would be pissed, like, oh, you can do that, but you chose not to.
Yeah.
Like, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
You know what else I realized? That we're pretty much best buds. Because there's really not. We didn't argue once.
Yeah.
We had a few discussions where we were trying to, like, work out some things, but we never really. We were on the same page the entire time.
Yeah.
And it went well, and there's not many people that I think I could have survived this with.
Yeah, exactly. That was nice. Like, everything went smoothly because we were really level-headed throughout the whole thing too.
Yeah.
We kind of understood that nothing was gonna be perfect type deal.
We were both willing to compromise and, like, make adjustments and not panic or be too set in what we want to do.
Yeah. So it was definitely, like, you were one of the, like, perfect persons to go on with this.
Yeah. But I also did realize you got pretty smelly feet, man.
I do.
So
sorry about that.
But I'll take that any day over like anything else. That's easy to deal with.
Dude, I mean, if I was getting regular showers, I usually be not issue. I swear.
I mean, you were pretty good at keeping your feet out the window when they started to smell.
I tried, dude. What do you think? You think I like to smell them either?
I kind of think you do.
No, I don't. Trust me.
It's not one of those things where you're like...
No, maybe I like to smell my own farts.
Yeah, which I don't understand.
Like, you can't not say that you don't like...
I do, but I don't understand why. And why don't you like your foot smell?
I don't know.
What is it about farts that you like?
Farts are funny.
We kind of had a conversation like this when we were camping the other night. How... what we just did. How Am I taking that exit?
No.
How humans can have such a deep intellectual conversation about life and their place in it, and then 5 minutes later just be like, yeah, fuck it. So let's talk about farts. Within a moment's notice, we can transition from life into farts.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's so funny. It was like, what's your password again?
4155.
Dude, it was so funny. We were saying, like, we had the deepest conversation when we were camping. We were like talking about all this shit, how to keep yourself level. Like, we were talking about what the fuck we were talking about? Being selfish, and we were saying what is the perfect level of selfishness to achieve, shit like that. And then we literally talk about like that for so long, and you just go, but you know what? Titties. It wasn't exactly like that, but it was like,
it was along those lines.
It was like, I care almost just as much about the titties.
Yeah. I was like, right, as much as I love having profound realizations about myself in the world, if you put that next to boobs, I'd be more interested in the boobs. Every single time, without fail.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so true.
I just don't get it. What is up with people that were equally intrigued by something so trivial and useless and something so meaningful and you could say important?
Yeah. It's so funny. That was cracking me up so hard.
And that I kind of got bummed because that's when I realized there was no boobs around.
Yeah, there wasn't any.
We really didn't do well with the ladies this trip.
We really didn't.
We got close everywhere we went.
But that almost made it worse.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like over it. Like the first night I wish we were like, I was just as jacked up about getting laid in Arizona State as I was in like St. Louis.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I was so down to like flirt with that chick. And also that whole experience with the chick pouring a beer on me, or water on me. It's like, because there was a girl last night that like we were looking at, that girl Kiana, and it's like, I don't even feel like it. I'm so tired and drunk, and it hasn't been working out for me, so why would I even give it a shot?
Yeah. And I don't know, the second half of this trip definitely has taken its toll on me physically.
Yeah.
Like, I was tired last night.
Yeah, seriously.
So I just wanted to go to bed and sleep. And I feel pretty beat up today.
Yeah, we drank heavy last night.
But it doesn't matter. Pretty soon we'll be shredding.
We're literally going to be in the water in 2 hours.
Yeah, probably less than 2 hours.
Tecate Divide.
Shout out to Tecate.
Picked up a 30 case earlier. We just passed a sign that there's a town called Tecate in Mexico, or is it in the U.S. or Mexico?
On the map, it was right on the border, so...
Okay, so it could be either.
Yeah.
We picked up a 30 case of Tecate, so we're big chilling.
I'm still laughing to myself about the boobs thing.
Yeah, it's so funny. Oh, shit. Well, what else we got for these people?
I don't know.
This is a good podcast, I think. Claiming this one.
I hope so. I think I kind of talked about everything that I wanted to talk about in terms of, like, conceptually, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So, yeah, I guess just give them a good sum up of last night, this morning, and...
How about we run through the trip?
No, we got time to do that. We're gonna do one more podcast.
All right, yeah.
Really.
All right, yeah, that's true.
Because we got a whole week in California.
Yeah, that's very true. So basically, the chain of events that happened since we last talked to you, made it to Arizona, partied with Harding, got close to hooking up with chicks, got way too drunk, woke up really hungover, and now we're just hauling ass and trying to make it there. Nothing cute, nothing sexy, just smelly, dirty, didn't shower this morning.
Nope.
Just up and ready to go.
Yo,
And
but something I was pretty moved by,
hit me with it.
fucking breakfast burritos. Brendan, me and Harding woke up pretty early this morning, and Brennan was still asleep. Like, he said he needed more sleep, and we were going out to breakfast. And Harding took me to this place, and I had the best fucking breakfast burrito I've ever had in my entire life. It was like as the size of my head, if my head was the size of shaped like a burrito. And and this thing was just fucking dense with like chorizo sausage, eggs, cheese, onions, peppers, like everything you need. And
that probably felt so good.
It was so fucking good, dude. And I was like, I don't get breakfast burritos ever, but I'm like, I gotta believe. I saw there was a really cute waitress, and she was like, definitely of Mexican or Spanish descent. And I was like, that just made me think like, oh, dude, they're definitely whipping up some awesome Mexican food around here.
Yeah, for sure.
Arizona seems like a good place to get a breakfast burrito, and lo and behold, it really was.
It is very interesting here, the influence of like Mexican culture and Aztec culture and Native American culture.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
like we don't get any of that stuff where we're from.
No.
Like, I saw a lot of Native American looking people when we were at that 7-Eleven.
Oh, for sure.
Which is something that I've never seen before. I'm not used to it.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting.
So.
But yeah, pretty much the moral of the story is road trips are about 3 things. Maybe 4 things. Spending time with your buddies, learning about the world, boobies, and breakfast burritos.
Breakfast burritos.
And I think that's a good place to leave them with.
Alright, with that, we're headed to California. We'll be in San Diego in an hour and a half. Thanks for listening.
Next time.
He was a good man, sailing and shoring, dancing the better kind, taking it foreign. Oh yeah. Los Angeles, I don't want Los Angeles. Never going to South California. They got one in South Patagonia. I wanna live in Los Angeles. I never want Los Angeles. They got a bunch of Moonville. They got a bunch more still. I wanna live in Los Angeles. I never want Los Angeles. They got 125 to 5. Well, it's just like a beehive. I wanna live in Los Angeles. Another one in Los Angeles. Count helicopters on a Saturday night. The symphony of the fairlight. A good man, sailing and shoring. You got a Betatron man, talking that foreign. Ah yeah.